Up on the brief this morning is that raid on the national headquarters of the Nigeria Labour Congress by whom the union describes as heavily armed security personnel that stormed and raided their office. The operatives are said to have carried out the raid in the Labour House late at night. According to a statement by the union, the operatives, who were in police uniforms and T-shirts suspected to be from the DSS, broke in and ransacked the bookshop on the second floor, carting away hundreds of books and other publications. The statement explains how the invading troop claimed they were looking for seditious materials used for the End Bad Governance protest, an action the union sees as a new low, given that no permit for such raid was cited by Labour, and they are calling on them to leave their premises. In the meantime, the Department of State Services, DSS, has denied carrying out any of such raid at the Labour House in Abuja. The response follows the allegation by the statement of the union that some men in T-shirt accompanied the police to carry out that particular raid, a claim the secret police has denied. In a short message by the DSS spokesperson, Mr. Peter Afanaya informed journalists that DSS was not responsible for the late-night raid. That's according to the DSS. And now moving on from there, that is not the only reaction that's coming in. The Amnesty International also has responded to this particular incident that happened at the Labour House. Amnesty International, they say they've condemned the invasion at the Abuja headquarters of the International Nigeria Labour Congress by persons believed to be state-backed actors. A statement by the director of Amnesty International, Mr. Issa Sanusi, says the raid by security personnel undermines workers' right to organize, bargain collectively, and take industrial action. Amnesty International raises concern about the safety of NLC officials, stating that under international human rights law and standards, trade unions cannot be targeted for their participating activities. It explains how, under international human rights law, Nigeria has an obligation not only to respect the rights of union or the trade unions, but also to protect the rights from abuse. Okay, away from that, here in Lagos, Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says the media has both rights and responsibility in his role as a fourth estate of the realm. He believes service to a country is key, even though the media is at liberty by law to hold government to account. As it reels out efforts of the Tinubu administration to reset the economy, Mr. Idris gave the remark when he had a sit-down with the chairman of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo, during his visit to the Channels Television's global headquarters here in Lagos, accompanied by some presidential aides.
The media has to be free. The media has to operate in an environment that does not, limit their potential. We also know that the freedom that the media enjoys will also have to come with some responsibility. And issues of fake news, disinformation, or misinformation will always be there. And it's not just a Nigerian problem, it's a world problem. But I know that nobody will come to clean that more than the media itself. So there must be a self-regulating system in the media. Even as you do this task of holding government to account, which is your constitutional role that you are playing, it is also important that we know that our country comes first.
Well, in his response, Dr. Momo emphasizes the core values and principles guiding news production at Channels Television.
Channels is an organization that is based on professionalism. What we do here is to make sure that we produce programs that are well put together and that will challenge the curiosity of our viewers and make sure that they use the information that we provide to impact on their lives. And one of the things that we don't shy away from doing, and we always stress, is the fact that we must represent all sides to an issue. We will continue to report government and government activities, but we also have the duty to let government know if there are areas where they have to do more, and if there are areas where they are failing. And we try to bring people from both sides of the divide.
And away from that, Governor Obasani of Kaduna State has assured that justice will be served for the teenager who was killed by a soldier in Samaru area of Zaria and Kaduna State on Tuesday. The teenager Ismail Mohammed was shot to death when troops of the Nigerian army attempted to disperse hoodlums during Tuesday's protest in Samaru. The State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Mr. Samuel Aruwan, who led the delegation and heads of security agencies to condole with the family of the teenager, expressed the governor's deep pain over the unfortunate incident and assured to leave no stone unturned to ensure justice is served over the death of the young boy. In the meantime, the Minister of Women Affairs, Mrs. Uju Kennedy-Oneye, on Thursday disrupted an event which was held without the ministry's approval. Ms. Uju Kennedy-Oneye says the organizers of the Abuja event have been taken into custody by the Department of State Services for what she considers alleged impersonation of the ministry. According to her, she got wind of the event that some group of people were using the name of the ministry for some unscrupulous activities, and getting this information, she stormed the alleged fraudulent event conducted in the ministry's name, where she insisted that the program cannot go on and the ministry should not be taken for granted. Let's now talk business. Foreign exchange inflows into Nigeria have surged, reaching $25.4 billion between January and June, a 55% increase compared to the same period last year. That's according to the Central Bank of Nigeria. The rise is due largely to the increased capital importation, which hit $6 billion in June 2024, and recorded inflows from diaspora remittances. The CBN says its policies are boosting markets' confidence as the bank continues to address foreign exchange demands, including a $876 million auction to 26 banks on Tuesday. And the Americans get her attention on the international scene with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris agreeing to a September 10 debate on ABC, setting up the first showdown between the candidates ahead of November polls. Earlier, former U.S. President Donald Trump held a news conference at his Mar-a-Lago residence in Palm Beach, Florida. The former U.S. president says he wants to debate Harris multiple times, and he had agreed to 3 dates in September, explaining how he's recovered from the wound to his ear after that assassination attempt on his life. Let's also tell you about the Leslie Tebogo, who say an Olympic medal will not just be for Botswana, but the continent of Africa, which he duly delivered to by becoming the first African to be crowned 200 meters Olympic champion. The 21-year-old produced a stunning run in Paris to leave pre-race favorite Noel trailing in third. In fact, Tebogo is the only second athlete from Africa to even win a medal in 200 meters. Namibian Frankie Fredericks had blazed the way for Tebogo by winning the second of his 2 silver in Atlanta 1996. Tebogo set an African record of 19.46 seconds in the Stade de France to put the cherry on the cake.